Hi, I'm Marc Cunningham with Grace Management. Unfortunately, this week we had to make a very difficult call to an owner. We had to make that rare call where we told an owner that his property had actually caught on fire this week through no fault of anybody's, and the city has actually condemned the property at this point in time. Now, that's a rare thing, very rarely happens, but it brings up the idea of proper insurance on your property. If you own rental property, it is imperative that you have proper insurance in place on your property. Now, there's two types of insurance you need to make sure you have. Number one is simply a landlord's policy. That's as simple as picking up the phone, calling your insurance company, telling them you have a rental property and you want to place a landlord's policy on your property. By the way, if you own a property that you live in at your principal residence and you're converting that to a rental property, it's very important that you tell your property insurance company that you're converting the property from a principal residence to a rental property, and they will convert your policy to a homeowner's policy, to a landlord's policy. It's very important they do that to make sure that you have proper coverage in place. Now, under a landlord's policy, that's going to cover you for typical things that you may incur as a landlord. It's going to give you some liability protection. It's going to cover the property and missing rent if something happens to the property. So let's say the worst case happens, and let's say your property does catch on fire and it does burn, and it's going to take 6 months for the insurance company to rebuild that property. Well, while it's sitting vacant, who's paying the rent? There's nobody living in the property. Most policies that are landlord's policy have a built-in part of that policy that will pay your rent, your missing rent, during that time that the property is vacant. So there's a loss of rent coverage. What you want to make sure you ask your insurance company is how long is that duration of rent coverage for, number one, and number two, if my property is vacant for an extended period of time, will that coverage of lost rents terminate? Here's why that's important. A number of years ago, when the rental market was very, very poor in Denver, we had a property that sat vacant for about 3 months. The owner took about a month to fix it up. It had been advertised about a month. So we're approaching month 3 of a vacant property. Well, during that period of time, towards the end of month 3, it was vandalized. And what that owner found out, unfortunately, is that his insurance did not even cover what happened because his insurance lapsed, because the insurance will stop if your property sits vacant for too long. So find out from your insurance company if there is any lapse in coverage if the property sits vacant for an extended period of time. Most policies we've seen have anywhere from a 60 to 90 day policy term during that time. So if your property is more than 90 days vacant, you may be in danger of having your policy lapse. But a landlord's policy will cover you for the general things that you could incur on your property. The second type of policy we recommend is an umbrella policy. This would cover those worst case scenarios in the unfortunate event if a claim happened and the amount of that claim was greater than your landlord's policy. Who pays that? What's going to happen? If that worst case scenario happens, a tenant slips and falls and really hurts themselves and sues you and it exceeds your landlord's policy, an umbrella policy will kick in and cover you. I have some rental properties. I've got a $2 million umbrella policy for me. That's what we recommend. At a minimum, a bare minimum, you want a $500,000 umbrella policy. To go to a full million is not much money more. And to go to 2 million, again, is not that big of a step up in a cost to you as an investor. So go for the 2 million. It doesn't cost you but a couple $100 a year to have $2 million of additional insurance. It's rare for claims to happen on properties. These are only in worst case scenarios. But in the unlikely and unfortunate event, if that worst case scenario happens, it's so good to know that you've got an insurance policy in place. If you've got questions, let us know. But most insurance companies cover landlord's policies. Most insurance companies cover umbrella policies. Make sure you're working with one of those with your property. Thank you.